I liked the Superman movie. There, I said it. I know not everybody loved the Superman movie, and I think it's fine. Like, I don't think it was like the greatest movie of all time, and it's not even the best like DC movie that has come out in like recent years. But like, I really enjoyed that Superman movie. Before anyone gets in the comments and starts like, pointing fingers and be like, Levi, how dare you? Don't you know that movie was cringe? I really enjoyed it because it was corny. I enjoyed it because it felt like a very comic book story from like the 1970s. I mean, it's not like I spent like a whole lot of time reading comics from the 1970s, but it just seemed like a very fun, over the top, crazy, zany, wild world movie. We've had so many DC movies that were like overly dark over the past decade that, well, maybe more than a decade. I don't know. The way that I first described it was I felt like this movie was on Skittles. Like there were bright colors everywhere. There was sugar. And it actually really made me like Superman as a character, which was very weird because I feel like I have been very vocal about how I thought Superman has been the most boring superhero in the entire catalog of DC, Marvel, and any other like indie superheroes. And to an extent, I still kind of feel that way because he's just like, he's Goku. He's an overpowered like powerhouse. But after watching that movie and then going back and watching Man of Steel, I really, really enjoy Superman as a character now. I've been a Marvel fanboy for like as long as I can remember, at least this past lifetime. I remember my favorite superhero when I was a kid was Spider-Man. And I remember starting to collect comics, mostly because I remember my dad said that he collected Spider-Man comics. But definitely ever since Iron Man in 2008, all the way up until Endgame, it has been Marvel the 100% of the time. Even in, it must have been like 2012-ish, whenever the like Avengers came out. Avengers, one of my favorite movies of all time. And then DC was like, oh, that actually worked out really well. All right, cool. Let's do the Justice League. And then they just kind of like, But ever since Multiverse of Madness, Marvel has been just dishing out terrible content. They've gotten a little better. Full disclosure, still haven't seen Fantastic Four. Did watch Thunderbolts. I did enjoy Thunderbolts. I freaking love Moon Knight. Moon Knight is by far my favorite superhero right now. I love Moon Knight. I would love more Moon Knight. Please, more Moon Knight. And WandaVision. WandaVision was an amazing, absolute amazing piece of television. It was the one show that, from all the other Marvel shows that have come out, where it was coming out episodically every single week, and I was talking to other people in the middle of a pandemic, like, so what do you think's going on? We're not even going to talk about Guardians 3. Guardians 3, absolutely incredible, heart-wrenching. And Deadpool. Deadpool and Wolverine. Another amazing movie. Absolutely amazing. So there have been like some bangers. But as far as like, I mean, I think like the next Avengers movie is like coming out like next year. And it's like, I don't feel super hopeful with Marvel like going into the future, which is sad because as far back as I can remember, I have been a Marvel fan. Before Marvel started making movies, I was watching DC shows. Like Teen Titans was an absolute huge freaking interest of mine. Batman the Animated Series, which I believe was from like the 90s. Another amazing show. We also had Batman Beyond. We had Static Shock. I think they even had like a crypto. Like I remember there was a dog one. And I feel like it was about crypto, but I remember liking Bat Dog the most. Was it Bat Dog? I don't know. The dog that was Batman. Enter in to this new era, the James Gunn era. I feel like I was going into the Superman movie being like, what I believe is that it's going to be James Gunn, and so it's going to be very well done, and I'm excited to see what happens. And I feel like I walked out of that movie really loving Superman and really being excited for whatever the next project was. I gotta say now, James Gunn's style does seem to have this very humorous overtone. And it's not bad. It's actually a very good style. And I'm not saying there's anything that can't be very serious in his style, because we have had the Guardians movies, and those have absolutely been incredibly heart-wrenching. But I feel like the tone of Batman is really well done with the Christopher Nolan movie and the most recent The Batman with Robert Pattinson in it. I cannot remember the director's name. Directed by Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves' The Batman that came out in 2022. I remember when I first watched that movie, I thought it was way too long. I remember that I thought we were wrapping up. The movie was coming to a close. Like, all right, cool. We're good. And like we paused it and was like, we still got an hour left. There's an hour left to this movie. I thought it was way too long. Then when I thought that perhaps DC movies under this James Gunn umbrella, like this new direction, that each movie's going to have its own separate tone. And even if all the movies are like connected in this universe, there's no way the Batman and Superman could exist in the same universe. That's pretty wild. In Superman, there's a giant floating dimension blob that just pops in out of nowhere, and the Justice Gang comes in and beats it with a giant green bat. Like, how does that exist in the same universe as what we saw in the Batman with like the Riddler doing his creepy weird stuff? Like, I feel like the tone of that movie fits Batman. We can't have the tone, or maybe we could have the tone, but I don't know if I want to see the tone of like Superman in that kind of Scooby-Doo style comedy, that kind of silliness on Batman. The best DC film by far is Wonder Woman. And I'm not saying that because my wife is a huge Wonder Woman fan. I'm saying it because it's true. It is the first DC movie we saw that not only could we see what was going on because it was bright enough to be visible, the choreography was actually attainable with our eyes. It was an amazing story, amazing character development. You see a journey that goes on from this girl that was forged out of, I don't know, necessity to fight evil, seeing how humanity acts. There is the phrase of appeal to their humanity. Humans are capable of great evil. And exploring that and seeing it and believing that we're all just under the possession of the god of war, Ares. And if we just get rid of him, everyone will just be at peace again. It's a great movie. After watching Superman, I felt this like immediate like love for Superman. Like, I want to go back and watch Smallville now, which is very weird. Or I got really invested just in Superman as a character. And I'm like, I need to know if I actually like Superman now, or if I liked the movie. And I have to say now, I really like Superman as a character. Still not 1,000% sure how I feel about him as a superhero, but Man of Steel was a great movie. And it's mostly because I was able to watch it not from a superhero standpoint, but from a personal character alien on a planet standpoint. We have superhero movie Man of Steel versus superhero movie Avengers. Avengers feels like a better superhero movie. And maybe I could be corrected on this. That the biggest mistake that DC movies had was that they made so many fights and combats like this epic large blast, but it was always filmed and done in a way that made it so you didn't always know what was going on. Well, something I kind of got, like, you watched it, like Superman 2025, like, he punches a giant monster and then he stops the monster from falling on a building because he's like, hey, I'm trying to, like, keep the building up. Whereas in Man of Steel, whenever the big fight starts at the end, Superman, like, is holding on to Zod and, like, is flying him through a cornfield, and then they crash into a 7-Eleven and it just the gas tanks just explode. And then, like, more cars are, like, driving and flipping and exploding, and then, like, when they're in the city, like, the grav beams are going on and cars are going up and down, and, like, people are getting, like, straight up murdered in there, and it's hard to go back to a point where it's like, hey, it's all gonna be okay. Superman's gonna come and save the day. It's like, not for that guy. That dude is dead. But instead, watching Man of Steel as a movie of kid getting dropped off on a foreign planet and becomes a god, lowercase g. I don't know. It was just really good. Anyways, I just wanted to get that out there on the record so that way whenever the next movie comes out, if it's really good, I can say I jumped on the bandwagon like 2 years ago. Because I think the next movie is Supergirl, and that'll be fun to watch. Nervously optimistic. Like, I really hope that things go well, and I hope that we show the honor and respect to these superheroes that people have for the characters that have loved them for a long time. I hope that still exists in this James Gunn era. I don't think that Superman was getting made fun of here, but I think if we saw Batman in the film that we watched with some cheap laughs thrown in there, I think we'll be doing a disservice. Batman should be dark, and Wonder Woman should be serious. Anyway, that's what I think. Yeah.